Have you ever wondered what they're not telling you about moving to the Florida Panhandle? Well, that's exactly what we're going to talk about today. Secrets Exposed. This is Jessica Duncan's Just My Opinion, and I'm Jessica. There's no handbook to owning a home. That's why I go beyond the transaction to give you my opinion, tips, and insights to help you with adulting made simple. So let's talk about this. What have they not told you about moving to the Florida Panhandle? I know it sounds like this great dream of moving to Florida, but let's talk about what you don't know. One thing people do not tell you about moving to the Florida Panhandle is the average price point. So a lot of the data out there is very old. Florida's had a lot of growth in the past 5 years. And especially in the past 3 years. So there's a lot of numbers out there, what our average price point is and what you can get for the money that are totally inaccurate. You want to make sure you know what you're going to get for the money before you move here. And so really digging into what you currently can get for X amount of dollars, whatever that budget is really important, because what it was 5 years ago, it's no longer the same at all. So you want to make sure, dig into those numbers, know what you get for the money, because many people won't tell you that about living in the Florida Panhandle. So currently our average price point is about $356,000. That's just a mediocre house. If you're wanting a house with a pool or on the water, obviously that's going to change. But the average price point of houses sold here is about $356,000. This is November 2024. But let's go back. Where was that before? So when I first went into real estate 10 years ago, that was about $189,000. So what you could get for $189,000 is now closer to $356,000. And even before COVID, we were looking at about $224,000. So $224,000 was our average price point just about 5 years ago. And now we're sitting at $356,000. So look into those price points and make sure you know what you can get for the money in Florida. I'll give you a good example of when someone did not think about the average price point here. I've worked with several military couples who traveled through here over the years. They were stationed here and set the goal to retire to Florida and move back to Florida. They remembered the pricing from 15 years ago. So they sold their house, came down here, rented a short-term Airbnb till they found the appropriate house that they wanted to buy on the water. The problem was their budget was $400,000. There's no way nowadays you can buy on the water for $400,000. But they thought, based on the pricing before, maybe it gone up a little bit, but not much. They thought they were going to be able to find something. Unfortunately, they could not. And we did end up finding them a great home, but we had to reset and really think about what was important in that house, because getting them that waterfront property, we just couldn't do for $400,000. Another thing that they forget to tell you is it gets cold here. A lot of people think of Florida and the heat and the sunshine, but we do have cold weather. January and February tend to be our coldest months, and there are many times that it drops down to 25 degrees. Now, at 25 degrees, your pipes can bust. Things happen. You can get ice on your car. Now, we don't have to break out snow blowers or anything like that, but it's important to think about. You still have to wrap your pipes around here when the weather is going to drop, but don't worry, it's probably going to be 70 degrees the next week. But you do have to think about it. Don't get rid of your winter coats before you move here. When you come to visit, make sure you also bring some long sleeves, because we do get random coldness. But it's mainly going to be in December, January, and February. One thing that people don't tell you about moving to Florida is insurance is going to suck. Insurance is awful in Florida. It's really hard to get a property insured here, but it's worth it because we do live in paradise. But there's a lot you need to know about insurance. There may be things on your home inspection that aren't important to you and you think they're very minor, but they're going to stop you from getting insurance if those aren't fixed. So there's little details that you want to make sure you're able to get that property insured. When we're taking customers out and looking at property, first thing we're doing is checking the age of the AC, the age of the hot water heater, the age of the roof, what type of plumbing does it have, what type of electrical does it have. These are all items that are going to stop insurance. So while the customer is looking for, is this house pretty? Am I going to feel at home there? I'm looking for, can we get this property insured? And if not, is the seller willing to do those items that are needed to be done so that we can get good insurance on it? And I'll give you a little secret most people don't know. In Florida, your insurance company does come out and inspect your house after you close. So it's not okay just to get a home inspection and get it past closing and get that insurance if it's not correct reports, because the insurance company can and will call you within 30 to 60 days to schedule an appointment to come out and look at the house themselves. Now, they're not going to do as big of an inspection as you had done, but they are going to check certain items such as the roof, such as the electrical panel, things like that. They're going to come out and make sure you still have insurance. So it's not just about getting insurance in Florida. We want to make sure you can keep your insurance in Florida. A lot of people don't tell you about the different lifestyle opportunities that are available in Florida. So, of course, everyone knows about the beaches. They think about the fishing, going out on the boat, but there are so many other things that we have here. You can buy a house in a rural area and be very close to creeks or lakes. Now, our lakes are not going to be huge lakes like up north. I would call them more mud puddles, but we do have some lakes. We also have creeks, rivers, we have bays. There's so many different bodies of water that you can be near and enjoy. Maybe you don't enjoy going out in the Gulf or going to the beach. Maybe that's not your thing, but maybe kayaking down Blackwater River would be amazing opportunity for you to enjoy life here. So there's a lot of opportunities besides the beach just to enjoy. We have an amazing downtown that is so much fun just to go people watch. I love to go sit down there and just watch the people walk around. Gallery night, which is the third Friday of every month. So there's a lot of lifestyle opportunities besides the beach that people don't tell you about in the Florida Panhandle. Another great thing that people don't tell you is we have some amazing restaurants. We have a lot of really good mom and pop family owned restaurants that provide amazing meals at a decent price. Actually, last night I was having some cocktails at one of the local places with a couple that was in town from Atlanta, and they were sharing their experience about being here and vacationing here, and they're talking about moving here now. And one of the things they pointed out was how affordable the food and alcohol was. And now we were in one of the most expensive restaurants in Pensacola at their upstairs bar lounge area where they have local musicians playing that are absolutely amazing. We were at a place called The District, and they were just blown away about how cost effective it was to go out and have some appetizers and some cocktails. Maverick, their response was, this would be over $200 in Atlanta. We've got some amazing places here. And when we're talking to customers about lifestyle, one of the questions I ask is, how many times a week do you go out to dinner? And what types of places do you want to go out to dinner? A lot of our really good restaurants are located in downtown. So if someone's wanting to go out to dinner 3 or 4 nights a week, they don't like to cook, where they are in reference to those really good restaurants is going to matter where they buy their house and what's going to help create that lifestyle that they want to achieve. One thing that people don't tell you about Florida is a little bit about our schools. You want to make sure you're researching the area that you're going to be buying a house in, especially if you have kids. Not only does it affect you, but it also affects your resale value. So you want to look at not just what schools your kids are currently in, but what are they going to be going to in the next 5 years? So maybe you have an elementary school student or a middle school student. What's their high school going to be? Do you want to have public school or private school? There's a variety of options there. Also, in Escambia County, a lot of the schools offer what are called academies. They're very academy focused, where they lay out course schedules or classes to prepare a kid for vocational training after high school. So there's steps to guide them towards a career, not just graduating high school. And each of them offer different things. So you may want to look into, if your kid has a special interest in something, what schools are going to offer that. But make sure you look into the schools in both Escambia and Santa Rosa County. The websites sometimes can be hard to find, so make sure you do some digging or DM me if you need to find the links to those. But you want to look at those schools, look at the school's grades, look at the academics that they're offering and what your kids need so that you make sure you're choosing the right location for you. Let's talk about commuting. Yes, commuting is a big deal in Florida and a big deal in the Panhandle. So a lot of people don't think of us as this big city, this big town like Atlanta or up north where you have these major commutes. But we do have areas here that you have to commute. It's not unusual to have a 45-minute commute into work. But those areas also provide a lifestyle that may be important to you. So, for example, I personally live in Gulf Breeze. I love living in Gulf Breeze. Some people ask me, how in the world do you deal with that traffic? Yes, I have to deal with the tourist traffic. I have to deal with 98 traffic going through the school zones. There's 3 schools there, and they all have different time zones to have a school zone. But for me, it's totally worth it because I enjoy the beach a lot. And I like being able to come home, change real quick, run out to the beach and watch a sunset after I grab some wings from sidelines and just enjoy the evening with my feet in the sand. That's important to me, or maybe go fishing too. But that's important to me. That may not be important to you, but you want to think about those commutes because we do have one. And we have areas in town that you can be anywhere you want to be in 5 to 10 minutes. But there are other areas that may take a little bit longer commute. Pace is one of those areas. A lot of people, when they move here, they want to move to the Pace area. And I always want to make sure, are you going to be commuting into Pensacola for work? Let me make sure you understand that could be a 45-minute commute each way every day. Milton, I think, is a huge kept secret. So people think Milton's so far away. When you look at mileage, it could look like it's far away. But there are many places in Milton that are so close to the interstate, you can be in downtown Pensacola in 25 minutes. How crazy is that? When you look at the mileage from Gulf Breeze or Pace, you would think it's so much closer, but Milton is going to be that faster commute. Another area that people don't think of as being very far away, but has a really long commute, is Cantonment. Cantonment, which is just north of Pensacola. If you've ever tried to go down Highway 29, especially right now with this construction, which they're expecting to take for 5 years, this is going to be a 5-year project possibly. So if you are living up in Cantonment, you're having to commute down into Pensacola every day, it's not unlikely to sit in a 45-minute commute. Perdido Key area, I love it out there. And I've lived out there and absolutely enjoyed it. It's sort of our forgotten beach. So it's one of those areas that the beach isn't as crowded. You can have a little bit more privacy. And it's just as beautiful a beach. But it's 2-lane roads, 1 lane each way. And then if you get stuck behind a school bus, you're going to be there a while. So again, it's like a 45-minute commute. Now, there's a lot of places in town, though, with the Cordova Park area and East Hill area. You can be 10 minutes from just about anywhere and 25 minutes to the beach. But think about commute. We do have one in Florida. Another thing they don't tell you when you're thinking about moving to the Panhandle is the lack of zoning we've had. So, sounds crazy, but we didn't have any zoning really here till about 40 years ago. So there are many areas where you can see a brand new, really nice subdivision next door to a mobile home. There are subdivisions where the backyard, you may be overlooking a couple of acres with a mobile home on it. And while we have started to have a lot more zoning and we're getting that under control, there's a lot of areas here that we haven't had zoning, and there's mixed use across the properties. They don't like to tell you that, but when you get here, you're definitely going to see it. Another thing they don't tell you about when you're thinking about moving to the Florida Panhandle is it's not your forever home. Everyone will tell me, no, it's going to be my forever home. I'm not worried about resale. Every time someone tells me that, I'm selling the house within a year. It never fails. It doesn't matter if you think you're going to live there forever or not. It is an investment. Buying a house is an investment, and you should always look at it that way. Unfortunately, we just don't know what life holds. We could get sick. One of our family members could get sick. Something could happen to a spouse. Someone could get a great job opportunity. You just never know what life holds. And when you're making a purchase as expensive as a house, it needs to be an investment. So you always need to think about resale. Never go into it going, it's my forever home. I'm not going to need to sell. Why would you put that much money into something that is an investment that you cannot sell? There's a lot of weird things that may fit your needs, but could hurt you on resale. For example, a guest bath. A lot of guest bath, they have tore out the bathtub, and it's a beautiful walk-in shower. And that may be great for your needs. But if you ever go to resale, you're eliminating anyone with small children because they can't give their child a bath. So you want to think about resale. Even if you're never going to be reselling, it's an investment, and it should be. This one couple that I worked with, I will never forget them. They were the sweetest couple ever. They were moving from Nampa, Idaho, and they were already retired, but they were moving to Florida. That was their ultimate dream, to one day live in Florida. So we helped them. We found the right house. This was going to be their forever home. They were in their 70s. They were never leaving. They kept telling me, no, Jessica, it's my forever home. It's my forever home. And I kept telling them, no, it's an investment. Well, sure enough, we found their perfect forever home. They loved it. But within about 1 year, they called me. And Jessica, our plans have changed. We have to move back to Nampa, Idaho. I was so glad that they listened to me and we made a good investment because they were able to actually walk away from the property with a good bit of money in their pocket after we sold it. They made a good decision. It worked out great for them, but it's just so ironic how I told them, you never know what life holds. And sure enough, we never knew what their life would hold. Okay, so when everyone thinks about Florida, they think about retiring, right? Retire to Florida, that's the dream. We've heard it for years. But one thing that people don't think about is there are some obstacles with it. One of the big ones is, how am I going to finance my home? If you're not paying cash and you're retiring, it could be hard to finance a home. You really need to talk to a good lender and figure out how you're going to be able to do that financing. Or sometimes people are going to retire but still keep working. So they're not permanently retiring, but they're retiring from one career, military, things like that, and starting another job. That's, again, an issue we got to think about when it comes to financing. You got to make sure where's your income coming from and how are you going to be able to prove that income to be able to get a loan. And there are some retirement accounts that are going to require you to have been drawing for a certain amount of time to be able to get that financing. So don't get excited and just sell your home and plan to move to Florida without talking to a lender if you're retiring, because those are big stipulations. Another thing to think about when retiring to Florida that they may not tell you is don't think about what your lifestyle is now. Think about the lifestyle you want in retirement. So your lifestyle in retirement is probably going to be a little bit different than when you went to work every day. So what do you want that lifestyle to look like? What are those goals? Really put some thought into that. Are you doing golfing? Would you prefer to be involved in community and doing a lot of nonprofit work? What is your goal and what is you envisioning that retirement life to look like? And think about that before you decide where you're going to be. So each episode, I'm going to give you a home hack. So what is a home hack? A home hack can be an app. It can be a gadget. It can just be a tip. It is something that helps you live through that home. It's something that helps you in adulting in that home. Something unique that I like to share with you. Today, my home hack, because we're on the topic of the things they don't tell you in Florida, is a fly fan. Fly fans are so important here. So you can get them on Amazon. I'm not promoting any particular brand here, but you can get them on Amazon about 4 for $23, but they come in so handy. We live in Florida. We want to enjoy the outside, whether you're sitting by the pool and have a charcuterie or you're barbecuing outside or just want to sit down on the patio and have dinner. These fly fans keep the flies away. And they're really cool because you can stick your hand in it. It won't hurt you if a kid sticks their hand in there. It's just a very simple little silver, soft paper-like blade, but it keeps all the flies away from your food. Thanks for listening to the podcast today. If you enjoyed it, make sure you subscribe. That way you never miss an episode or a home hack. We definitely want to continue to give you that information. If you got a question you want me to answer on a future episode or privately, just send me a DM on Instagram or Facebook and maybe hear it on a future episode. Till next time, it's just my opinion.